All right, welcome everybody to episode 3 of Monster Talks. Today I'm with Chris Chavez from 10th Planet, and today's episode is about how to get started in the gym world, or how to start your own gym. And Chris has a lot of experience. He has ran 10th Planet now for some time, and he's here to give us some insight on how to get started with your own gym. So what's up, Chris?
What's up, Raul? I'm glad to be here, man.
So tell me a little bit, man, about like your whole start with the gym and 10th Planet. Like, I know when I first met you, going into the gym, from then to now, things have changed completely. You've remodeled, you've expanded. So tell me a little bit, man, because I personally, like, I know you from a certain point, but tell me, like, even earlier from that, like, what was your inspiration that got you started into like this world of...
Yeah, so I really fell in love with JiuJitsu, when I first started. I was trying to actually get into fighting, MMA, and, I was introduced to JiuJitsu and noticed how, it wasn't about cage fighting. It was about, learning each martial arts individually, and then, later blend them up. So I started with jiu-jitsu, fell in love with it since the first day I started, never quit, never stopped since then. Then I was already like 2-3 years into college. I was majoring in civil engineering, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of like, math classes, science classes, physics, and all that stuff. And I really liked it, but I started finding out, or thinking, did I really want to do that for the rest of my life? Did I really want to be like an employer, be like actually working, hard, tooth and nail kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was about being smart, and having your brain do more of the work and your body do less of it, to a point where you don't really have to 100% be invested and lose out most of your time to just making money to survive kind of thing. My parents, I later noticed this was an influence to me. My dad was a manufacturing engineer from Maquiladora in Juarez, and my mom was a teacher, elementary school teacher. And they were very, very passionate for their jobs. They loved it. They gave it all they had. And as I grew older and they grew older and, advanced in their careers of being, like the older persons in their jobs and stuff, they started becoming, get pushed out a little bit by their managers. That their managers ended up becoming like the younger guys that were, trying to take the company or the school or the district to like the next level, or they were getting peer pressure. Like for teachers, standardized testing became something that was more important. Like things started evolving, right?
Yeah.
And when you're just an employee, or you just like, you focus on what you like to do, but not trying to become, the owner or the boss, you become just someone that you could just be replaceable. You know what I mean? And I started to see that as my mom, for example, on her side, certain principals didn't end up liking them for personal reasons or for other reasons, and end up, pressuring them in a sense to try to get them to quit or try to get them to move schools. My dad, in the manufacturing and as a manufacturing engineer, other engineers they would manipulate certain projects or things that he invented that he this and that, you know what I mean? Where he invented like a certain part or a machine that made his company that he worked for saved them like millions of dollars, because the assembly lines were more efficient and this and that. And then at the end of the year, they give him like a nice glass trophy that said best engineer of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, look what they gave me and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, that's great, Dad. But like, didn't you tell me how you like saved them all this money? So like, what, they couldn't give you like a bonus, at least something? He's like, nah, that's not what it's about. That's not why I do this. And it's like, yeah, I guess, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you need to work for yourself. And that was the ignorant side of me, as in, yeah, I was right about that, but then I didn't know later. I learned later how much harder it is to be your own boss. And it could maybe cancel out, but I feel like I still want to tell myself that it doesn't cancel out, because I don't think there's a price to being your own boss and running your own show.
For sure. And how much do you think that had an impact on you in your life? Like, seeing your parents go through that, did that impact you to say, I'm going to create my own destiny?
So that's where I decided that's what I want to do. I didn't want to work for anybody. So growing up also, when I was in college and starting to get jobs, I worked at like an academy. I worked for like a restaurant here. and I worked for a hospital also. There's certain people that shouldn't be in like manager positions
for sure,
because they take like their own personal, I don't know what do you call it, but they have an ego and they do power moves just to boost their own ego kind of thing. And they, just because they know they can like kind of like you can't do anything about it, and they'll kind of talk back to you or like make you do certain things just because I said so. And it's like, and knowing your job very well could be like, why would you want me to do that when I'm doing this? This is better for the company. Like, well, because I said so kind of thing. You know what I mean? And that always really irritated me where I'm like, this guy should not be my boss.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, man. And in any organization, I think the owners have to be more aware. Sometimes owners kind of retreat into their own office or whatever, and they don't see what's going on in the office, actually the boots on the ground, and see what's going on in the trenches to understand some of that. And when that happens at an organization, it's poison. It just brings down everybody, and then you push out really good people that you can have, right?
And it's because of personal reasons, not even for what's best for the company. Sometimes it's for what's best for the company, but for stuff like that, and that affects the project or what's the goal, you know what I mean? So you got to have your employees and you guys all have the same goal, why we're doing things, and make these people feel like, they're important, you know what I mean? Because they are, and some people they're so caught up in their head of like, oh, I'm the boss, and let me post this picture. I'm the boss, and
Yeah, sometimes people do that to keep their position too. So if they feel something's a threat, they may, And
is that good for the company? That's not good for the company. And then his higher up is caught up doing some other stuff, and he's like, well, it's easier for him to just leave that guy and just kind of rush it sweep it under the rug, where he doesn't want to go away from what he's doing to hire someone new or start him from new, train somebody new, and run the risk that what if this guy's worse or better? Like, he's not that bad, he's doing okay, So that to me, like on an individual level, is very like degrading and demeaning to you. You know what I mean? I didn't want to come up being a 45-year-old adult and having some dude tell me what to do or not to do. And
I know I know this is like jumping right in, but like, how do you avoid that happening at your organization? Because I know it's tough. Like, I've had similar instances where I've felt kind of the same thing happening.
Right.
Like, what do you think is like the solution to some of that for an owner?
And that's something that I still, juggle a lot, because I've had employees, trainers or stuff like that they are not easy to manage. You know what I mean? They're not manageable, I guess you could say. And it's tough to... me having that in the back of my mind that I don't want to be that boss. You end up having to be that boss, and you also have to nip that in the butt immediately, because before that spreads and that kills the vibe, because you have to. There's so many things as a owner that you have to take into consideration. At first I started this because I didn't want to have a boss. Because I just wanted to make a living off of jiu-jitsu. That was my reasons. And then you have to end up being a freaking therapist to your people, to your employees, to your clients, or clients or members. For me, it's members, jiu-jitsu members. And I have to focus on me to be also being better at jiu-jitsu, but then also focus on the company to keep growing and evolving as well. It's just like so many things.
It's really taxing. But overall, if somebody put it, is it worth it? Was it worth it?
Definitely worth it. Still, I want to say it's worth it because I am my own man, and you'll also feel it. You know what I mean? Like, if you start slacking it, you'll see it. Like, oh shoot, like the ship is starting to like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? You can't slack it. You got to do this. You got to do that. Oh shoot, I got to get back on top of it. And if you're hustling and going hard, you'll feel it automatically just start going up, and you're like, you know what I mean?
You get
Where
the vibe,
as an employee, it's like, oh, you hustle, and it's like, oh, your manager give you a pat on the back. You might get a bonus at the end of the year. And then if you slack and this and that, bam, fired. Oh, right up. And then you're like, what? I've been hustling for 5 years. And now, I this started happening, and I slacked it a little, but I didn't really, and I dropped the ball and this and that. And now my manager's giving me shit for that and telling me that I'm bad for the company or I'm running the risk. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get valued as much, I feel.
I'm really interested in the topic, dude, just because on our end, like, I'm always looking for ways to motivate, and I know people aren't going to love it as much as you love your business, right? But what I try to do is find in each person, like with my relationship with Devin, like Devin is motivated by something different than Sebastian.
Yes.
And I have to understand that and be involved in what motivates them and where they want to go in their life.
Yeah.
And if I can help them get there, I figure like they're going to give it their all while they're here, you know?
Yep.
And or sometimes we stay working forever, like with Carlos and Gabe, like these guys I've worked for forever, right? It's your Sammy, it's, you know, it's we all have that in our organization, but I'm always looking for that, like what's that balance? I've also done things where I talk to the team about maybe profit sharing. And so there's other things that are coming into that I think that companies need to stay on the cuff of that, dude, because I think more and more it's becoming difficult. Like ever since COVID, I'm sure like you've had a lot of people saying, screw this, screw that job. I'm going to go do this my own thing, or I'm going to go, you know, open up my own food truck or whatever it be.
I think that's great, man. It's just, for me, what I've been noticing now is like, because you as a boss also and as a person, you go through stuff too, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that stuff that's like, you need motivation. I need motivation. I need someone to I'm feeling burnt out now. Who's going to come and be like, hey man, like, you know what? Like you need to I've been watching that you're not, what's going on? Talk to me. Like, you need, like, who's going to boost me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and at the same time, everybody needs their boost.
Bro, this is what I love about 10th Planet is that when you go there, everybody's energy is at that level. Everybody's mindset is to try to better.
And it's important. It's important to notice that and it's create that culture, right?
Yeah.
And it just betters everybody, you know, and find a way to cater to everybody and their needs and what we're there for. It's not just for jiu-jitsu and to learn self-defense. It's just to help you get to the next level of yourself, you know what I mean? And where jiu-jitsu, it can be used as kind of like this matrix to develop that inner, you know, fighter mentality or fighter spirit in you. You know what I mean?
Speaking of a fighter, like where did you start? Like where was your birth of Chris, the fighter? Like where did that whole thing come from?
So I'm thinking, growing up, it's kind of a funny story. Growing up, my dad would like, my dad and my uncles, they're all from Mexico City. My dad's from Mexico City and my mom's from Juarez. And my dad and my uncles, it was like, he has two brothers and a sister, and they always had all these stories and anecdotes of getting into fights in the streets and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's not like they were cholos or gangsters or anything, but it's just the big city life kind of thing. And they played baseball growing up, and they would always get into fights at baseball games. Yeah. And with the umpire. And I had one crazier uncle than more than everybody. They call him the Loco Chavez for a reason, right? Everybody knows him as that. Yeah. And he would get into more fights than ever. And I don't know why, it was like an adrenaline thing for me. And I kind of like low-key liked it and thought that was the coolest thing ever. Yeah. And growing up like in high school and stuff like that, that was something that I would do like with my friends a lot. Not a lot, but it was often that we'd go to parties and get into like scuffles and fights and stuff like that. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Did you wrestle in high school?
I didn't.
You did do sports?
I did it. I did sports. I did gymnastics. I did baseball. I played orchestra actually. I played orchestra from like 4th grade all the way through high school.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't played the violin in a few years, but I've been wanting to recently. But besides that, that's why I wanted to. And then I got into UFC, right? And then once I started watching UFC on Spike TV, that was just like, I'm like, this is what I want to do. I wanted to do this so bad. This is what a real fight was. I started getting into, when I was little, into like WWE and stuff. Yeah. I got into it. I was into it for like maybe a year or so until I found out it was fake. And I'm like, why am I like, so these guys are fake fighting? These like really buff dudes are fake. And it's like, yeah, for sure that's fake. Like, okay, dude, like that. Like you got rocked in days. Why don't you keep hitting them instead of cheering, you know, or like celebrating? Why did you keep hitting them if you're really fighting? You know what I mean? And I stopped watching that. And then I got into boxing, you know, Mexican, everybody watches boxing, you know, Julio Cesar Chavez and stuff. And that's freaking amazing. But at the same time, it's not really a real fight, you know, until MMA came about. And I was like, this is what's closest to a real fight. This is what I want to do. And that's why I started training.
So what's the first thing you did? Boxing or was it?
No, jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu was the first thing?
Jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. And then later in my career, I started focusing on just boxing. And then I started focusing on just wrestling. So I started adding all those things together.
You started at jiu-jitsu and then that inspired you. Like, shit, I'm going to take it to this level. I'm going to do that.
Well, you just learn that there's so many dimensions to the game. Yeah. That's the reason why MMA is, I feel such an amazing sport. And so entertaining, because there's so many levels, so many like dimensions to fighting and so many different things. You could only do so much. There's only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can't invest all of that into all of the different elements of it, you know, the wrestling, the strength and conditioning, the jiu-jitsu part, the submissions part, the boxing part, the kickboxing part, the cage working part, you know what I mean? And the sparring, and then sparring, you know, like, so you need a time for everything. You could only be a certain type of person. If it's just boxing, you invest most of your time into just pure boxing and strength and conditioning, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's only one dimension, and that's why after a while, Canelo is never gonna get knocked out, and he's never gonna knock anyone out anymore, because he's fighting some of the best guys where people don't really make mistakes anymore, because it's just one thing. There's just two elements: left hand and a right hand. That's all you really got to worry about. And in MMA, there's so many things: hands, elbows, knees, kicks, takedowns, jiu-jitsu. That's just like. So that's why people get knocked out all the time. You could be the best guy in the world, and then some other dude comes with a different, you know, like fingerprint to what his style is, and just freaking is able to apply it. You ticked when he tacked, and bam, done.
And how, I know when you first got started, like what birthed that idea? Like when you started doing jiu-jitsu, how far in did you like, I'm gonna do a business out of this?
So it kind of fell on my lap. I was a purple belt still, and I already knew I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to have my own school.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just, you know, I'm gonna get a black belt. One time my black belt, then I'll have my own school. And my former instructor had to move back to California. So he offered me, he's like, hey, well, I'm moving back, like, I'll sell you the gym kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right. I had just sold my car, and I was gonna buy another car or something, and it's like, well, how much? And like, this much. Oh shit, I was like, I kind of already got that. I'm like, fuck, like, so I could do this? I'm like, fuck it, do it. So I did it, and then I was all in, and I was like, shit, what the fuck am I doing now? What I gotta do now?
Yeah.
And then you run into things, and that's a part of entrepreneurship or owning a business, that you have to know that there's always gonna be things that you didn't foresee that are going to happen. And you have to, instead of seek empathy and be like, oh my God, this sucks, and give up and stuff like that, you have to, what is the solution? And there is always a solution.
Did you take it on full time, or were you like half and half?
So I was half and half. I was still going to school. And then I was already tired of school. I was burnt out. I hated it. I hated school since like freaking 4th grade or something, you know?
Yeah.
It was like, not to sound like snotty or whatever, but it was like too easy for me. A lot of things was too easy to a point that I didn't even want to do it. I wouldn't even do the shit. It's not that I couldn't understand it. Like, I knew it, and then so that I wouldn't fail. I would never do any homework. I would do all the work at school real quick, and then I would pass all the tests. But all the homeworks, I'd get zeros on and shit. And I'd get in trouble, and, you know, I was always the bad kid, the problem kid. And then I would finish quick, and I would start talking.
So you were going, but you were like having that feeling like, what am I doing here? I got this going on. Like.
Yeah, so then I was like, so in college, I was like, oh, well, I'm going to take a year off to, you know, get the gym, the business going, and then I'll come back.
Yeah.
I think that was just more story to tell my parents. I had no intention.
And this was at what age did you start? Did you fully take on the business?
I think I was like 24, 23 or 24.
Shit, that's young, dude.
Yeah, and so I did that, and then I got a job at Enterprise Rent-A-Cars. So I was working from 8 in the morning all the way to like 1 to 2 p.m., go home, eat, shower, and then go back to the gym from like 4 all the way to 8 p.m. to teach classes. For years, we were doing that.
Yeah, you've been doing that for a minute, because your schedule is somewhat still like that. You're still there from sun up to sundown. You guys.
Yeah, we just added more stuff, and then I give more people responsibility. People that have been around, like, well, hey, you should start sharing stuff like that. You know what I mean? Maybe you should be the one to teach this class.
And at that time, as you started, were you starting to like be like, well, I need to learn accounting or stuff? Or you asked people, or how did you?
So first off, I the first hurdle was like and it's understandable, right? I didn't hate anyone for that, but I went from being a peer to being everyone's instructor. And then people that have been training with me and stuff like that, they're like, okay, so now you're gonna teach me when you were like shoulder to shoulder with me learning from this guy. Now you're over there and I'm over here. Like, so they went to other gyms. Yeah. And they came back years later, you know, majority of them did. And, but that was the thing that I went from like, oh, we had like 20 something members really, which was paying everything off and, you know, had a little bit of profit, to like 5. Yeah. And then and then I was just like, all right, we're just getting new people and new people and new people and new people. And then
that's so good that you bring that up, because a lot of us, like, I know including myself, sometimes you feel like I'm not worthy, right? Like you said, I was their peer, now I'm the owner of the place, and now that, you know, the whole role has changed. And I think that's what stops a lot of people, that they feel like, well, fuck, I'm not anybody special, like, you know, like I'm not worthy of this, or I don't deserve this.
So I saw that though. And first of all, like, you got to perceive things through other people's perspective also, you know, like, okay, so why are they not like, oh, fuck that, what the hell, you're gonna abandon me? I could have gone that route. And then hate them and like, well, look at us now, bro. Oh, now you want to come back? Well, hell no. You know what I mean? I could have gone that route, and that would have been the dumbest thing ever, because you can't make us. There's going to be people that are going to hate you anyways, and you're going to have problems with anyways. You can't just do it for free though, like constantly start making them on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, shit's going to happen sometimes, and then you end up hating each other. You guys having a huge clash, and even then you can't fully burn that bridge with a lot of people, because eventually, you know, like, we might end up needing each other, and we could like be diplomatic and watch out and stuff.
That's good that you bring that up, because I think a lot of times that's what affects a lot of people. They've just burned too many bridges, and
their ego's too big.
Don't trust in them anymore.
You're gonna do that to me? You're not gonna do that to me? Never again is anyone gonna do that to me. And it's like, bro, that risk is no reward. You gotta do it again.
I almost think, like in business, you have to be good at navigating that, to know when and when not to, right? And know when to check your ego.
And it's hard. It's hard the older you get, and then you have kids, and then you got a family that's depending on you. You got a household that's depending on you, and then people screwing you, and then again and again and again. Now, after a while, you're just like, dude, like everybody, like, why is all like? There's always someone, you know, like that have to be watching out. Like, why? You know what I mean? And that's something that after a while takes a big toll on you, and you still have to learn to brush that off.
I've told people before that the entrepreneur road is lonely. Because a lot of the times you're reflecting, you have that, like you said, sometimes you're like, man, how would he do that? Like, you know, but it's the road that we walk, because sometimes you feel that way, though you have a lot of people that help you throughout the way. At the end of the day, the problem at the end of the day, it rests on your shoulders.
100%.
And you're the one that's
I feel you have to look at it like every single problem and every single thing that happens, you should take responsibility for it. Even if you don't, even if you're not responsible for it, you should have to be like, how could I avoided that for this to happen to that? You know what I mean? What could I have done? Damn, and learn from it. You know what I mean? And that's where jiu-jitsu comes into play too. You know what I mean? That's like the jiu-jitsu mentality. You learn from all your losses and observe it and just let it go and move on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
that's going to be a good one, Devin, to use as a clip. But for sure, dude. But I feel you on that. I tell people that they're like, why would you want somebody holding you down? And you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, that's the time that you should smile and look up at the sky and know that, you know, that you've been through it before, and you're gonna find a way out.
You're gonna get out of it, and stay calm, and you will get out of it. Be optimistic, right? That you are gonna get out of it, and figure it out. There is a way. There's always a solution. There will be a solution. Sometimes the solution isn't as great. Isn't like, bam, now I'm on top. But it's you gotta like, you know, you gotta be happy for your little battles that you won.
And or you don't get out, and then you learn from it. You know what I'm saying?
Life is tough.
Yeah.
It's a life lesson.
And then you
don't win every time.
But I think that's, for me, jiu-jitsu is like life, right? Like that's the
cliche
journey.
As that may sound, right?
Exactly.
Like basketball players' ball is life, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's normal. Everybody has their thing, I feel, and if you could apply it to life, that's good, you know?
For
use
sure.
it as a metaphor, right?
And when you first started getting up the business, I mean, what was business like the first year? I'm curious always.
I was really into it, so it was really good, and I was doing everything, right? I was doing, you know, managing the expenses, you know, paying for everything, and then out of pocket, out of my paycheck, I was just paying for everything, like a lot of the things, you know, and just finding the way. And it's funny, dude. Like, I later, I think I was talking to my brother about this once, and he's like, growing up, my parents never let me have video games.
Yeah.
Because I was like, all about them. I really liked video games, you know what I mean? And when I would go to my cousin's house and they had it, that's all we'd be doing, just playing Nintendo 64 and stuff. My dad would be like, go outside and this is what you guys do. And then we're playing like Medal of Honor back in the day and like killing people, right? Which was like, the graphics were sucky or whatever. My dad would be like, you're practicing kill. This is what your game is, killing people? Like, no, go outside, play. And he'd come with like the balero, learn how to play this shit, right? And I know how to do that shit. It's pretty good. And I get it now that I have my own kids. I don't have them iPads or Nintendo Switches or all that stuff. TV is limited. After a while, I'm like, all right, let's go outside, ride bikes. You know what I mean? And I get that now. But he was very extreme, because I feel you have to teach your kids also to learn how to control those things. You know what I mean? Like you limit it. You know, like damn, I have been playing video games for freaking 5 hours already.
Yeah.
This isn't right. You can't be doing anything like that for 5 hours nonstop and like so into it. That's healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know where I was going with this. Oh, so
what I did about the first year.
I remember now. So since I couldn't play video games, I was still wanted to play games and stuff like that. There was like a middle ground that we reached with my dad that he let me play computer games. So the computer games that I would play were like Sim City, Sim Tower, Sim Theme Park, Sim Safari, Sim, like all the Sim games.
He was like, he's gonna be an architect.
So all of them were like about having like a business. Like if it was Sim Safari, I had like a safari in Africa, and then I'd have like one little world where I would have all these animals and a certain amount of animals that attracted more people.
Yeah.
And then in the other part, I had the camp and like in tents, and the tents brought this much revenue in. But if I had cottages, I had brought this. They were more expensive, but I had this much revenue coming in. And if I had these people, I had to get also cars, and then this van only fits 4 passengers, like stuff like that, bro. And then you would have to. And then Sim City. Did you ever play Sim City?
Yeah, I played Sim
You would
City.
put industrial, residential, commercial areas, roads, and then your taxes. You would raise the taxes or
it was
not.
like the first
them.
version of Roblox and everything that's out now.
I don't know. Can you do that in Roblox where you run a budget and stuff like that?
Yeah, they do that. You can sell everything. They're starting to monetize stuff, and
But
you have your
like in
currency
reality,
and shit.
though, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I don't know if I want to get my kids into Roblox. So in all that stuff, dude, like after a while, I was running all the books and stuff like that through QuickBooks, and I would actually I had everybody's card information on like paper, bro, and I would run it manually through my terminal that I got
every day, every month. Yeah.
Every month I would do it like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, there's a software for this.
Yeah.
And where you put them all in there. And
Yeah,
So then I got the software, and I'm like, I'm basically like playing SimCity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is how much money I made this month. This is how much expenses I have here.
Exactly.
This is how much money I have here in the bank. This is how much money I have here. And then just pressing buttons on the computer. And I'm like, damn, I was doing this shit when I was in fucking 5th grade and stuff on the computer.
That's crazy, dude. And when I think about like when I first started and everything, the first year we did terrible, you know? Like,
of course.
I think persistence is important in that point, right? That you're like still believing in yourself. You have the grand vision.
Yeah, and resilient.
How did your parents feel about the whole business and shit? Like,
my mom,
it's pretty interesting from a Hispanic.
Definitely, yes. So my mom, go for your dreams kind of thing, kind of woman. Oh, I love her to death, man. If it wasn't for my mom, I don't know what the hell who I would be right now. Go for your dreams kind of person, believed in me, has always believed in me or my brother. Whatever we wanted to do, she sacrificed her for as long as it was like healthy stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to do this. You know, my brother wanted to be a doctor in physical therapy, and he wanted to go out of town for college. And my mom was just a teacher. My dad lost his job for a few years when my brother had gone to college or was going to go to college. So she threw a teacher's salary, put my brother through St. Edward's College in Austin, and struggled having him live out there and stuff without a cell phone and stuff. I remember he would call us from like his friend's cell phones every now and then, you know?
Yeah.
And so she believed in me, and she helped me. She would lend me money every now and then and stuff when I needed to. But my dad, on the other hand, when are you gonna stop playing your fucking stupid games already? Like, get a real job like a man, you know, kind of thing. Be a man kind of guy. Yeah. And like, what the fuck? At your age, like, what did he say once? Like, I was having this huge fight with him about, like, he was bashing on me for what I was doing, because I was fighting, training fighters, and running my gym at the same time while having an extra job. And I was doing everything at the same time, right? And I wasn't really making money. Yeah, I was like going off and shit, but I was still I had to like live with my parents still and shit. And he was already, when are you fucking gonna get a real job already? Go back to school, stop being stupid, pinche way, that way on or whatever the fuck, right? And he's like, at your age, I already had you and your brother, and I had a job. And I was like, so pissed. I was like, that's your fucking problem, bro. That's your fault. You had kids at 24 already. You already had 2 kids and were married at 24. That's your fault, bro. So you did have to do that shit. I didn't have kids. I didn't have nothing. And my brother was on the phone with my mom in the meantime, while me and my brother were like, me and my dad were yelling at each other about that shit. And my mom was like just randomly, hey, your brother wants to talk to you. And I'm like, I'm like, what? He's like, he's laughing his ass off. He's like, bro, that was his problem. That was his fault, not yours. I said, like, eso estúpido. That's what I said. That's your fucking problem, you know? He's like, bro, don't give up, man. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, dude. And my brother was already going to college and stuff. And I think he was already in PT school. He was like he's a physical therapist. So the hustler, bro. He's so like, if you could go through all those like schools, right?
Absolutely.
He's so disciplined and dedicated,
you
bro.
It, man. Sometimes it's that leap of faith, man, and sometimes it comes with that. Like I have these conversations with my brother and my peers as well about, you know, like doing your own thing and taking that charge. And sometimes it's just that fear of, what if I fail, man?
Yeah, and
what if I fuck up everything?
If you fail, then you fucking get up and go again and fail again.
You got your degree.
Fail.
You went to school, bro. You go back.
Yeah.
You know,
and you already have your degree. Yeah, just go. All right.
Yeah, that's what I always talk with these guys about. You know, like right now that you're young, dude, fucking experiment. Go out there, push the limits, learn. Don't make money like your main focus
like Gary
right
V.
now.
Gary V. Right? Eat shit for fucking 10 years.
Yeah,
you can eat shit for 10 years and still be good.
Yeah, no, it's true, man. Because you do have
guy.
to, because you wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't blossom into what it is today.
Without risk, there's no reward.
Yeah.
Without
I mean,
sacrifice.
I see some of the early pictures of the gym where you guys had those like puzzle piece fucking mats and shit,
mats,
like this thick. Yeah.
Not just that, dude. The bottoms of your feet would end up black after every practice. How dirty they were. We would mop them every time, but it was like a certain sponge that would actually soak in like the sweat and the blood and the vavas and the everything, bro. So, and we were cleaning it as much as we can. I had them steam cleaned a few times. One of my homies had a business, like he started steam cleaning carpets and stuff. I'm like, bro, can you steam clean this shit? Hell yeah.
Steam clean. You pull out a whole thing of fucking.
And then water would get in between the puzzle pieces. So even though it was dry on the surface, if you went like that, there was like water underneath. I hated those mats so much. Huh?
Yeah, dude. Like the whole thing with your family, I had similar situation like early on where my mom was like, no, don't leave. Like you got a great job. Like you have benefits with the government.
Worked for Alamo, right?
Alamo, and even before that, because I worked for the housing authority, so I was working for the city. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's a solid job, bro.
Solid job, benefits, dude. But I just didn't feel like I was being heard, and I felt like I was being held down, you know. And I was like, nah, I always wanted more.
I mean, some people don't have that though.
Yeah.
But if you do have that, you should listen to it and let it evolve and thrive and flourish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Plus, I was never a fucking morning person, so you know what I'm saying. So I'm like, fuck, I'm trying to get my way out of this shit.
Yeah, I want to wake up a little bit later, bro, on my own time.
I can stay up till 5, but I can't get up at 5. You know?
That is funny. That is funny. So now it's funny because now my dad is all proud of me and happy, and
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Now he works for me he's already retired and stuff, but he makes some extra money on the side working for me, and now I have him on payroll.
That's what it's about. I'm same exact way with my mom.
I'm waiting for one day for him to be super pissed at me.
My mom was coming from it, but from a part where she was trying to protect me, I guess, as a mother, you know. Like,
watching you go through shit and like fail and like be in debt and like being up all night and business and not making it and like
they're the ones that hear our struggles and our grunts,
and then they're
right?
like, damn it, they're all stressing because they don't want to see you do it. Like, well, just go get a real job, you know, kind of thing. And it's understandable, but just know that they're doing it because they love you, or they feel that way because they love you. Yeah. But you gotta believe it. Don't let that kill your dreams. You know what I mean?
No, and it's important.
To me, I was like,
I think it's important.
I need to go off into a sprint.
Bro, it's so important for us to have people like that in our life. You know what I'm saying? Because that probably also sparked a fire in you. Like, I'm going to show my dad.
Yes. Some people have that even more like, oh, you think I'm going to fail? Now I'm going to show you kind of thing.
Yeah. I love that shit, bro. That to me is always like.
You have that?
Like, doubt me, bro.
Not everyone has that.
I'm going to come back harder. I'm going to show you.
I'm going to prove you. I'm going to
show
you.
I do it with my photos. I do it with my work. Always. That's why I'm always like.
It's like, oh, you don't think I'm going to be a good photographer just because I'm this guy?
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah, exactly. Or somebody dismissed you like, nah, he can't handle that. Like, I'll come back, I'll do it on my own and come back and show you. You know, so that's the best revenge, man.
Back in the day, dude, when we first started the team and stuff, a lot of the other local schools didn't know what 10th Planet was or anything, so they would my 10th planet, I'm gonna be 11th planet. What the fuck is that shit? You know, all the like top guys at that moment in time. And that's where we're like, oh yeah, bro, you're gonna know who 10th planet is. And now everybody knows what 10th planet is.
Absolutely, man. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that, you know, people that have gone through the gym and what they've gone on and done, it's like, what other gyms has those kind of accolades?
And it's something I tell all my little kids, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
You know, like my little kids start getting distracted and like they're fighting. We start the little kids class, right? Be like 6, 7-year-olds fighting each other, and it's like they start. The one that knows is gonna lose, kind of like starts talking, and then the other one starts talking too, and then they are kind of like fighting and stuff, but just talking. And I'm like, hey. Do more jiu-jitsu, less talking. Actions speak louder than words, you know? And sometimes they get pissed and like, well, you pushed me, well, then push them, you know, take them down then. Don't let them push you, you know what I mean? Do something about within the rules and parameters of jiu-jitsu. But kick each other's ass then, you know? Prove who's better, or why are you letting them bully you around like that? And you're, that's not the rules, coach. And it's like, well, some people are going to cheat sometimes, bro. There's cheaters out there. You know, you're not going to be able, there's not going to be a police everywhere to protect you from the cheaters, you know?
All right, so we're talking a little bit about the city and, you know, why we feel maybe El Paso is behind the curve, or why people say that we're behind the curve, and like we're that forefront. So what do you think we're going to need to do to change that whole thing?
I think we need to find ways to bring people in, even just to visit. Because when people visit, they don't hate El Paso. Like, it's more of the local guys that are like, it's not in El Paso. But when people come from out of town, they're like, hey, I like El Paso. Even just like the friendliness, you know, like, God, when I go somewhere, everyone's all nice and friendly and like, you know, like the paisas, you know what I mean? Like they're like, there's some sort of like good, you know, vibe in a sense.
The food is good.
But the food I think is the best, you know.
That's our problem.
I think and the drinking, right? The food and the drinking is a problem.
Yeah, that's another thing. Do you think the drinking in our like community, because we drink a shitload.
We have a drinking
like
problem.
our Hispanic
as
community.
A city.
Yeah, as a culture, I think even too, like as Hispanic culture, it's like it's shown like the more you drink, the more badass you are.
Yeah, I think that's just anybody that drinks, right? They kind of come out a little bit more, right? But honestly, like it's even statistically proven. You know, if you know any police officers, they have stats. You know, El Paso doesn't have a drug problem; they have a drinking problem.
We have a shitload of them on bars.
But why do they drink? You know what I mean? It's because it's just about partying and like being the coolest. You know what I mean? But not really being goal driven. You know, as in like, what do you want to do with life?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that, and it's because since we're in El Paso, like to go to like, we don't like UTEP is good, but maybe it doesn't get as much credit as in like it's a really good school. It is a good school, man. Honestly, it is. It's got its like, you know.
What do you think, like lack of facilities too, like things to do with the family, things for the kids to do? I know, like when I was young, because we didn't have shit to do, I had a lot of stuff. We just get into stuff. We're like, hey man, let's go. That trailer's been abandoned for like a year. Let's go see what's in it, you know?
That's
things
true.
like that, you know. But if you're a kid,
I even find that interesting right now. I know a trailer's abandoned for a year somewhere. I'll be like, I want to go look in there.
Who lives there? It's a scary story. Let me tell you. We'll tell you when we get in.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That does seem fun. I guess. But see, there's nothing wrong with being bored and like, not having things to do, you know. But it's like, you have to find your own ways to like be creative and find things to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, for example, and it goes back to solving the problem. For example, me in my industry, I guess you could say, I needed my students to get experience. I needed them to get better, but also business-wise, for my kids' team to grow, or even adults' team to grow, I saw how motivated they got after competing, after going out to a tournament out of town and competing, and they'd come back like. Even the parents, when is the next tournament, coach? Little Mikey wants to compete again.
Yeah, when you get home and you put your medal up on the wall.
Win or lose, bro. Win or lose. They'd lose, and they'd be like, he wants to compete again. He's going to be ready next time, coach. And like, he wants it, like, I want to win. Blah, blah, blah. Like, well, you might run into that same kid, good kind of thing. You know, they want to like, yes, that's the fire I want, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, God, so now you got to, or people kids want to compete for the first time and like, first time ever competing. The family doesn't know anything about jiu-jitsu. They put him in martial arts because he's getting bullied. But now this kid likes it and he wants to compete because he's seen other kids compete and they have medals and swords and trophies. He wants one too. When can we compete, coach? When's the next tournament? Oh, well, the next one's in Midland. Or San Antonio the week after that. And it's like, God dang, imagine going for the first tournament. What a big investment you have to do for them to know if they like jiu-jitsu or not. Yeah. Drive all the way to San Antonio. So it's like, God. So I was like, I got to start bringing it here. I got to have them get better here, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I started doing the tournaments, to get my students to be competing more often. And then it was like, okay, it's about, let's bring all these people from other places here to El Paso now, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be a different group of people. In Albuquerque, it's people that go from El Paso, and then from like cities around Albuquerque. Some Colorado people will go down to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
When we'd go to Arizona, it'd be us, people from El Paso, and then Arizona people, and then sometimes people from California or like Vegas would go down there.
Yeah.
When we go to San Antonio, it was like Dallas, Houston people. But if it would be El Paso, it would be people from Arizona, people from Albuquerque, and people from Midland. You know what I mean? And then we also get some people from Juarez in Mexico coming up. So it's like a different group of people that would be attractive to them. You know, it would build a different little culture of competition that, you know, I feel could be.
And you've done those risks. You've taken those risks by putting your own money up.
Yes.
To make those tournaments happy, and I respect that about you for
and
what you're doing.
And the reason why you got to do it is because the reason that makes you do these things is because you're doing it for the passion and for the love. You know,
Yep.
You're not doing it for the money. If it's for the money, you're like, well, you already start thinking, well, if I'm going to invest this much, how much? This isn't profitable. Like, what? I'm going to take a loss over this. You are going to take a loss. So what?
Yeah.
Financially, you're going to take a loss, but for your brand, it is gonna go up. You know, for your students, you know, they got more experience. That's worth something. You know, maybe you can't put a number on it of what it worth, but maybe if you really go deep into it, your retention level is probably gonna go up now. You know, because people aren't quitting because they're not motivated. They're not just training just because to train. They're training now because they have goals in mind. You know,
I think that holds business is back from growing too, because sometimes they're like, well, if I put $1, am I going to get 2 back?
Yeah.
You know, like if you think that way, you're never going to get anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
I want to start my business, so then I'm really good with numbers though. And it's like, it's not about the numbers. Man. It's not about the numbers.
I tell people, as long as you lead with that passion, man, you're going to make money. People are going to see that passion. You're going to grow. You're going to continue to grow and develop. And so your work's going to get better. People are going to take notice. And before you know it, man.
And if you lead with passion, and it'll grow because people see that and they attract to that, you know what I mean? Because they want to be around someone that's passionate with their stuff, and then are going for their goals and living a dream. They want to be around that, because that vibe and that energy rubs off on them, and they start kind of like, you know what I could do? Or they start talking to them, and you kind of like rub off on them and stuff, in a sense. Like they're like, yeah, you know what, I could do that too, or I like this, you know, or I'm a part of that too, you know, I'm helping them do that. What can I help with, Chris? Can I do something? And it's like, yeah. Now that I'm knowing, you know, that people are offering to help, I got to be good at knowing how to organize them, and also offer them, you know, offer them some sort of compensation in a sense, to where they're not doing it out of love anymore. That now it's kind of worth their while, and they like doing it, and they're down for it. They like to be a part of this project. Yeah,
for sure. And for the viewers or people that check out this video that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about Desert Jiu-Jitsu?
So it's a tournament, dude. I noticed, I recently saw it. I've been doing it for 8 years now, man. It's so much.
Wow.
So the first time we did it, man, it was so cool. It was a group of us that had gyms that we wanted to bring. You know, for me, at that moment in time, I would work every year at the LA Fit Expo. I was refereeing for the Gracie Nationals and Gracie Worlds. I would go to LA and then San Jose once a year to each one of those cities, and just to referee. And the reason why I was refereeing, because I didn't have money to compete and to travel, and I would get my hotel paid for, and I would compete for free. And I would get a t-shirt and stuff, you know? And then I was around like all the fitness people for free. I would get into the expo for free, and I would be like, you'd meet all these badass dudes, you know, and girls, you know? And it was awesome. So that's why I started doing that. And from there, we had like this meeting for like, it was called Live Fit EP, and it was Shane and Lizzie from, it's called Sun City Club. I can't remember exactly. Sorry, Shane and Lizzie, you ever see this video? Sun City on the far west side, and then Mark and Amy from what's called Elevate Gym now, and then me, and then there was some other guys that actually ended up falling off. I think all of them.
Yeah, you had the karate as well.
Well, I brought Eddie and Laco in later.
Okay.
But the first year we did that, and then we got help from the city because it was called Grow, something like that, where they wanted to bring tourism to El Paso and stuff, and we put together this fit expo. Yeah. And they decided it was when San Jacinto Plaza wasn't open. Supposedly they're gonna finish it by then, and it was gonna be there, which it never was. Yeah. So we closed down Franklin Street. From El Paso Street I don't even know for like what, it was just downtown, It was so hard, bro. I had to rent canopies to put. So I had the tournament in a section. There was a bodybuilding and bikini contest kind of thing on the other side, and then there was a CrossFit competition, and there was booths everywhere, and we put food trucks everywhere, and it was great, bro. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But it was so hard, bro, out in the sun and stuff.
Yeah.
And then like the canopies were placed somewhere where even though the sun would come at an angle and the mats would get hot as hell, I had to shut down some mat areas because it was like you couldn't compete on those mats. It was so freaking hot.
I didn't even know that you guys started outside. That
was the first year. It was super cool. Right outside the Chihuahua Stadium. I'm like, why couldn't we just do it in there, bro? At least in the grass or something.
Yeah, no, I think the city, if anybody from the city is paying attention to this, man, like we need more support in our local government to support people like this that are trying to put out.
So we did. We got support. We were able to do all that stuff, and but I feel we need to definitely support more local businesses to create events like that. You know, not just about concerts and stuff like that, because then people are just drinking and they're having a great time and stuff, but things like that are so really cool. And there is other things out there that are healthy, for the
no, do you see the kids all get ready? The parents are into it.
And they're seeing it's like a whole fitness thing, you know what I mean?
It's a whole thing. It's a whole
lifestyle. And
everybody,
like a lot of people go to the gym and stuff, and then now they're like, oh, I'm gonna go, and like they wear their gym shirts and stuff like that, and then they're walking around like, oh yeah, I compete with that guy, or I trained with him.
Yeah, you can promote your business, you can get out there, and it gives a whole new life to.
So that was the first year. The second year, we're never doing it outside again because, and then there was a chance that it was gonna rain. Yeah, it's like, wow, it rained, and then we ended up doing it at the convention center. Dude, there was year after year, there was something that happened that we were about to not let it happen. It was like there was like Hurricane Katrina, so a lot of people from Hurricane Katrina that were like left without homes and stuff were staying at the convention center there, so we couldn't do it anymore.
Shit.
And then we had to they had moved them around, or they ended up leaving, and we were able to do it. Okay, cool, and it was great, man. And then we later added karate. Yeah. And then we later added a wrestling tournament, and then there was like a strongman competition. Those big dudes that were like lifted boulders or just like the heavy kegs and stuff like that. It got so cool, bro. Really, really cool. And everyone started doing booths. It kept growing and kept growing. And then another year, then there was a Walmart shooting. Yeah. So all the evidence and all the stuff was at the convention center, and we couldn't do anything about it either. Shit. And that was when our thing was going on. Yeah,
I think in our community, we need other event centers that we can do to have.
And the convention center is so expensive, bro. And they want to charge you for everything, and they want a percentage and cut off of everything. And it's just like, it's like, dude, we can have nice things. We can have nice events. Like, you don't see that we're doing.
This is where we need the support. We need some city funding. We need city support to provide the facilities for this kind of stuff. Or like I seen recently, you just said, screw it, I'm going to go to a high school gym and work with maybe individual schools and stuff.
And that was great. I did that. And
you guys did that at Eastwood?
Yeah, dude. It's inside the brand new gym at Eastwood this last
beautiful.
Year. And we helped the Eastwood wrestling team. All the funding that they charged at the door, they got everything at the door. Yeah. I was like, you guys keep everything at the door, and I'll keep my registrations. I'm like, we both make money. And they made a good amount of money for the Eastwood wrestling team specifically. Yeah. I'm like, great, now that team gets new singlets, or they're able to get paid tournaments to go out of town and get it paid for. That was awesome. I thought it was perfect.
We got to innovate more ways that we can trade and barter and help each other in our, and so the stuff like that is good. So you got a desert jiu-jitsu for kids coming up, right?
No, well, I did the desert jiu-jitsu for kids recently at one of my friend's gyms here on the west side called Zen Martial Arts. When did I do that? I think that was in February or something. It was just a kids tournament. And you learn from everything, man. It was crazy because it was always a kids and adults tournament. Yeah. This one I did just kids, and it was a different vibe. It was just like super like a playful, loving, nice, growing environment. Yeah. Of kids just competing and stuff like that. Everybody cheering each other on, everybody clapping for everybody. And when it's a kids and adults, it's like more tense because adults get more serious about it. They're more competitive. It's more, they call themselves fighters because, oh, my fight is coming up. And it's like, we're doing jiu-jitsu, bro. It's not a fight, just we're grappling, you know what I mean? But they get really into it, and then the coaches are more stressed out because they have more adults to like go for it, like to be cornering and stuff. People. And then also sometimes some of the coaches are competing too. So it's like it's more tense. And somehow with this kids tournament, it was more of a friendly environment. So now, last year I did it in September at Eastwood, and it was amazing. It was the biggest turnout we've ever had. I bought all brand new mats for the tournament with the logo in there, so it looked all professional. And we got over 400 competitors, and that's the most that I've ever had for sure. I'm really good with the Naga tournaments. People, whenever they come into town, they go and train at my gym, and they had like around 500 competitors. So Naga's been around forever, and they're nationwide, worldwide. They even do tournaments in London and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, so this is good. This is like a good number. I'm already kind of like putting up tournaments that are around their number. So I'm like, now I got to do it. I got to spread my brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because also this tournament is submissions only. It's not a points tournament, so it's a different type of tournament, which is attractive in a different sense that no one could compete with me. You know, we're having jiu-jitsu tournaments, but yours is that way, mine's this way. It's different. People might like this because of that.
It's more exciting. Sometimes people tend to think
I feel it's a way better tournament. It's a better display of what jiu-jitsu is. It's more exciting. It's easier. It's more friendly for the non-jiu-jitsu eyes where they don't know what's going on. Why did he get points? Wait, so that guy won just because it's because of sweep, and you got to always be, it's because the sweep is this and that. Yeah, but he did do that. Yeah, but he didn't control him for that many seconds. You know what I mean? And there's always people like, look, bro, he did stupid ref, and see, I should have gotten points there. Or why did he give him points there? There's always that argument.
Yeah.
And in points and in submissions only, did he tap or did he not tap? That's it. And when you roll at open mats, when you go against someone, you're not keeping track of points. You never keep track of points. Yeah. It's more about who tapped out who. That's it. So it's a lot more friendlier. So now we're doing it in Albuquerque. See how that goes. And then eventually I'm gonna add more cities and more cities and more. Just keep growing that way. And that's eventually gonna make the El Paso tournament. I'm gonna focus it to make it where the El Paso tournament is going to be like the championship. Maybe I'll call that one Desert Jiu-Jitsu Nationals. You know what I mean? And then the Albuquerque with Desert Jiu-Jitsu New Mexico State. Yeah. Odessa, Desert Jiu-Jitsu Texas State. Tucson, Desert Jiu-Jitsu Arizona State. El Paso will be the Desert Jiu-Jitsu Nationals. You know, because, or I want to say regionals, but national sounds cooler. you know, but I could maybe eventually have Vegas later too, and just.
Yeah, no, I see it continuing to grow, and then with the branding, with the marketing and stuff like that, it's going to continue to grow. I think we're in a good time too. Social media, you understand it. So if you were to do it all over, what's something that you would do differently when starting up this business?
Oh man, which, on the tournament or
just the business in general, just the gym?
I don't know. I've never thought of that.
If somebody was going to start it, would you recommend they go full on with it? Like with no money and just like try, or you think to be successful, especially in El Paso, you're gonna need to like half and half it?
I want to say do it until you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, because I was still a purple belt. Yeah. And I missed out on a lot of like as a student thing coming up where I could just focus on myself in the martial arts thing. Yeah. So I had to take leadership roles or coaching roles and stuff like that, and I missed out on being a student all the way to being a black belt. But I can't say that directly to my life, because if I would have done it when I was a black belt, I would have already had kids. And I don't know, with kids as an influencing to my life, how much I would have been able to like struggle and be dedicated, but also eat shit and be struggling and taking losses when I have my kids to feed. Do you know what I mean? Sure. So destiny made it in that way. That's my story.
I think that takes off of the pressure a lot of, if you don't have kids, then you're not going to probably have to maintain that full-time job.
I tell people that, dude, you don't have kids, you're not married, bro, go and try everything, bro. Yeah. You could live under a freaking bridge. I don't know who said, I think Gary Vee said, I follow Gary Vee a lot. You could live under a bridge and eat shit forever, and you fail, what? You go and stay at your couch, on the couch on your mom's house. Then try again. You know, what's the worst that could happen? Exactly. You don't have kids that you need.
I tell people that, you're not going to miss nothing, man.
Sell your car if you have to.
Same people will be at the bar 10 years later. They're going to be there. Your friends will still be there. Just go do what you got to do, man.
Bar scene's still going to be there. The club scene's still going to be there.
Yeah, so go do what you want to do.
Bottles to pop are always going to be there to pop.
So do you think it's like for somebody who wants to start a gym in El Paso, is it possible for them to be successful?
Definitely. Focus on your credibility as an instructor, what it's going to be, because that's what I had to do also. While I was running the gym, while I was teaching, I also had to be winning and competing and fighting as often as possible to prove that, hey, you know what, like this guy is legit. Yeah. Because I was barely a purple belt kind of thing, you know? Yeah. I had to prove myself. And then we would go around town to all the open mats and just try to, you know what I mean, like roll and train with everybody just to let them know who we were. Indirectly, we'd go to like train with the coaches and stuff like that, but their students would be like, who the hell is that guy? Oh yeah, he's the guys over there.
Yeah. And I know you've talked about more expansion on the gym, so you look to continue to grow.
Yeah, so that's something that I've been learning recently too. You always got to find ways to keep progressing in a sense.
Yeah.
On every, forefront, I guess you could say. As an individual, as a boss, as an athlete, as a business, and then as a business, financially, as a business, as an organization, and as a business physically, you know what I mean? People like seeing that.
Yeah.
Like during COVID, it was really cool. During COVID, I was going crazy, man. When we were closed, I was going crazy. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't be at just home, just chilling, sitting there. I got an above ground pool. We were just like there, like swimming almost every single day and drinking beers. And then I'm like, I can't be doing this. So I was like, I would go to the gym and I would clean. And then the next day I'd go again and I was like, I would clean again.
Yeah, dude, that's really I'm sure a lot of gyms fell off during that period.
Yeah, it was tough,
But the fact that you guys made it through and everything, man.
So what helped me, and I feel, what helped me on a personal psychological level, and I feel what indirectly also helped the gym, was that I was there one day and I was there just sitting, I had just gotten there, I was sitting there on the bench. I didn't even turn on the lights. I was just, because we have like light from the natural lighting, right, on some parts, so it's not pitch black, but it's kind of dark. And I was there, and then my brother calls me FaceTime, and I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, and it was like kind of dark, I guess. He's like, what are you doing? Where are you? I'm like, I'm here at the gym. Look, let me tell you a show. He's like, bro, why? I'm like, well, what else do I do, bro? This is what I've always done. Come to the gym and do stuff. I'm here, so I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do or something. He's like, damn, dude, that's sad, bro. Don't do that to yourself. He's like, well, start doing okay, remember you told me you want to knock down that room and stuff like that? Do that shit now. You got time? Or that wall too, and knock that down. And do this and do this change and do that. And I'm like, fuck yeah, you know what? You're right, bro. When I got that sledgehammer, just stress, it relieved some stress for me. But then once I started doing that, I posted, like, to some of my friends are like, they were bored. It's like, what are you doing, bro? Can I go help? Some of the students and stuff. Yeah, come, I'm here. All right, I'll be there tomorrow. Like, what time are you gonna be there? Probably like around 8 o'clock in the morning, bro. I'll be here. All right, I'll be there. People walk in, we lock the door. And then we're like, what are we doing? Well, I'm gonna knock this whole freaking wall down, bro. Fuck it. We're gonna open this all up. All right, cool. And then we were doing it, and I would take pictures of like all the sheetrock and all the debris. I would take pictures of that room that was like, this. And then once we were done knocking everything down, the mountain, I would take pictures. Like, people were like, and I would post it. What are you doing at the gym? What's going on? You'll see, bro. You'll see when we open up again. What is that? And then, like, after we cleaned everything up, we painted, we added this, we added that, with new floors and this. And I would take kind of like corner pictures. Who reckon, like, what? We got new floor. Wait, what part is that? Like, I don't get, like, So, okay, you guys could open up again, even though it was like, but maintain social distancing. You gotta check temperatures at the door, make sure to sanitize and do all that stuff. So how are we gonna do social distancing when we have to be 6 feet? How are we gonna do jiu-jitsu while having to be socially distanced? So we couldn't. But I was like, well, I'm still gonna open, bro. I'll figure it out. What do we do? We'll do just some conditioning, like some body weight, calisthenics and shit. Okay. And then I'm like, it'll probably, and the way I sold it was like, it'll do us good because we've been so stagnant for so long. We can't just go straight into jiu-jitsu day one. Because we're gonna start getting hurt and stuff. So let's start focusing on, we're gonna do push-ups, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do some yoga stuff. But people were also excited to get back in there because they were curious of what was new. You know what I mean? They weren't like, well, I don't know, I guess we're open, we can't really do jiu-jitsu yet, so I'm just gonna wait off. They were just, dude, the classes were packed. Well, as packed as they could be, right?
And I think just jiu-jitsu in general, we have a much more passionate community where they're like, I don't give a fuck if I die, man, I'm gonna die on the mat.
And you get to know each other a lot more when in jiu-jitsu as a group or a team or as a class. Since we grapple with each other so much, we put each other through so much stress and we overcome so much shit that we put each other through. We know what type of person you are. You're the type of guys that I'll never break this guy. I can't break this guy. He's freaking, I can have him in the right. He's still gonna not tap and he's still gonna end up getting out for some reason. And then another guy, I just gotta push this guy into deep waters. as soon as I get him tired, he's gonna start breaking and stuff. And then you'll be like, hey, bro, you can't break as soon as once you get tired. You know what I mean? You can kind of motivate each other like that.
Yeah, and you start to build that bond and shit where you guys struggle together. You're fighting each other's demons.
You get to know each other on a more what kind of person that really is. Even though they act a certain way, you know that they're this way kind of thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like now that you guys have come through it, you're already out of where we're per se. Like we're in a lot better situation.
Dude, my argument is JiuJitsu also it does so many things for you, bro. It helps you socially, it helps you physically, you get in shape, you know how to defend yourself. Hicks and Gracie said this one. It even helps you with hygiene, bro. Because you get ringworm and stuff like that. So when you get ringworm once, after that, you wash your clothes a lot quicker and with more stuff. You figure out how to kill bacteria and stuff like that. You take a shower way more. Before you'd be like, whatever. After you're like every inch of your freaking body, you make sure you get it all, bro. As soon as you see something, you address it. You know, like
because you don't. But
also, I feel since we're so close to each other, so often breathing in each other's faces and sweating on each other, our immune systems must be way stronger, bro. Nobody at the gym got really sick. It was always the story of, oh yeah, dude, I got it.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I kind of I couldn't.
That's how I see it too.
I only knew because I couldn't taste stuff. And it came out positive, but I'm fine, bro. All right. I'm just kind of tired. Like that, no one was like, oh.
No, I think that's something that we're getting more away from just because of technology, and we're so fucking secluded that we don't want to be around some people. But it's I think that you have that when you go to jiu-jitsu and stuff, and you have somebody that's 300 pounds on you, breathing on. They probably sweat and probably a drip fell in your eye or something.
It's gross when it falls in your mouth.
Like, all right, you cool, you got me.
Dude, this one time I was rolling with Justin, and we were soaking wet, bro, in sweat. Soaking wet, dude. It was like we had just got out of the pool where your body's like you're moving. It's like we were rolling and somehow he landed on top of me and his hip kind of pushed and strained out his clothes of the sweat, and it I got a stream into my mouth, bro. Stream of sweat. It was I tapped out the freaking ran to outside the door, just.
Yeah.
He's like, what happened? I'm like, bro, I explained it. Oh, it was the grossest thing
Not
ever.
to mention, I think the confidence too. I think gyms in general, being in that environment helps with your confidence.
Social media was a big thing on fitness. I feel like ever since social media, especially Instagram for the longest time, maybe not as much now, but for the longest time was way more fitness driven. Everything was about how fit they were and stuff like that. Yeah. Now it's turning a little bit more sexual and stuff, right? But the fitness models are a little bit more of not fitness models. It's more about something else. But for the longest time, it was about fitness and how cool you could do this and all the sports and all the cool things people did. Yeah. So that kind of drove people to be fit.
Yeah, and you can kind of follow somebody day in and day out. Yeah. I remember early on I used to watch Muscle and Fitness magazine. You watch Flex Wheeler or somebody but you wouldn't see their struggle, so you wouldn't know you had to read how he did his push-ups.
And they all had, and it was a story that had to fit into a certain paper or an article, right? Yeah. Where now it's you can see a day-by-day story of when they
see their personality
directly from them.
Yeah. You can do this shit and just get in front of people and talk and stuff like that. Yeah. But for sure it does help with your confidence, helps people. So I think if people are looking to get their child into a gym or jiu-jitsu or martial arts, it's going to help give them that motivation.
Yeah, so confidence. That's something I tell my the parents at the gym. Sometimes a certain kid is getting he's crying. Why is it? It's because this little Jimmy is crying because this and this and that, or he pushed him really hard and he kind of threw him hard and he fell. I'm like, okay, well, so now he doesn't want to do it. I'm like, this is also it gives you as a parent more opportunities to be involved in directly and immediately into the situation. Yeah. A little kid runs off the mat crying because this and that. That's not going to happen at school. You're going to get them 4 hours later after everything. Well, what happened? I don't want to talk about it. They're back and getting the teacher told me this, but but in the moment you're what happened? It's because it's a parenting opportunity. Hey, well, breathe, relax, bro, control yourself, and don't let yourself, man. Yeah. What kind of we want you to be, you got to be as a parent, this is the type of your last name. That's Chavez's.
I think kids don't speak up too because they're humiliated. So they're scared to be humiliated. Where in jiu-jitsu or when you're doing that kind of sport, you may do that. You may be humiliated 4 or 5 times in a day.
And at a tournament, you get used to it.
Yeah, you get used to it. It's like, all right, it's okay.
And they run off crying, and then as a parent, some people make mistakes, bro. They're like, it's okay. I was like, no, it's not okay, but things happen, you know? And also they're like, yeah, but that kid was bigger than you. He was more experienced. It's like, no, don't give him an excuse, let him own up to, you know what? We're going to try harder. You know, we're going to try harder. We're going to come back and we're going to kick that kid's butt next time. You know what I mean? You need to train harder. And have you been training? We haven't been training. We've been missing practice, little Jimmy.
Yeah, man, that's where we're at right now. I mean, that's a big topic right now. And, on how soft people have gotten or, this
and it goes back to, as a mom, you don't want to see your kid struggling. So you want to give them up like, it's not your fault, little Jimmy.
Yeah, man, it's a mistake if we do really that as parents.
You're still really good and be happy. And you are a champion because you had fun. And I get it. You don't want him to be sad. But the life is about this. And you need it's a parenting opportunity for you to be like, guide him through that. Like, man, it sucks. I got you. I understand. Yeah, no, but you look good out there, right? You were fighting the whole time. You lost, he caught you with that choke, but you were fighting the whole time and you almost
It's great that you've picked up on that, man. Little by little, who has been other inspirations along the way for you? Like early on when you started business, did you seek mentors or were you reading books more? How did you pick up like a lot of your skills? Because
I used to be about reading books when I was a kid, but I never got into it. I really wish I did. I'm not bash on people that read books, and I think that's definitely something that I need to work on, to be reading more books. And I didn't really seek mentors, but I would feel that in some people. I always hung out with people that were older than me. And maybe they weren't the best businessmen that I could be like, oh, well, tell me, please, okay, can I have a meeting with you? I want to ask you run some questions by you. It was just like off of talking and telling them my problems and this and that, and they'd be like, you know what, man, like I went through something like that too. And just what I learned and what you should do is this, that, and and don't let this happen, and it's like I have my friend Fito. You've met Fito? Fito, he's I think he's like 50 years old now. And sorry to laugh if Fito listens to this, but I remember ever since I was way younger, I would always have conversations with my homies and Fito would be there. And then we would go off and be like, no, we'd be talking about somebody, like a fighter, like, no, dude, he's already old. He's like 40 something. And Fito would be like, hey, everybody, like, oh shit, sorry, Fito. That's why I laugh when I say his age. I think he's 50 now. And he would always be the guys that give me the biggest truth bombs, kind of thing. Like, dude, honestly, man, you gotta eat shit for a while. You gotta take it. People are gonna fuck you over. They're gonna screw you over. There's this new guy, he's not new, he's an older man, but I saw a video of him on social media. What does he say? It's fucking raw. He says, being a business owner, being a successful business owner is like being pregnant. Everyone's there to congratulate you, but nobody knows how many times you got fucked. I'm like, damn, that's the truth, bro. People are gonna screw you fucking over and fuck you over so much, man. And you just gotta keep going. Why do you do it? Have your reason why. Your passion. This is not gonna hold me back. And I learned that also. I go back and reflect to, like, I used to be in gymnastics and I was pretty good at it, and I got out of gymnastics in high school because there was like a few other dudes in high school gymnastics that I didn't like, that would get on my freaking nerves, and that's why I quit gymnastics. Like, what? You know what I mean? And I see that in kids, like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do wrestling anymore because some of the guys, and I'm like, whoa, bro, hey, you like wrestling, right? Don't let someone else influence you on you not just because someone else, you don't like someone that's around there, you're not going to do what you like to do. That makes no sense, man.
I'm telling you, bro, the book Influence,
that's what it's about.
That's what it's about, man. Like I quit my senior year. I played varsity. I got moved to varsity my freshman year, and I flunked out every class. And then I played my sophomore, my junior year, and then my senior year I just up and quit, bro. Because
you didn't like the guys, or you thought you were cooler than a certain amount of guys.
No, I was working. I had a girlfriend, bro. I wanted to have a car. And my coach is like, all right, this next year we're going to focus so nobody's leaving practice early. And I was like, Coach, I gotta work. But shout out to Coach Aragon for, like, those are the types of coaches that we need to have, man, that will still like we fought, but he still like sought me out, and I talked to him
and guided you
and guided
sense,
me,
right?
and like I failed my whole freshman year. He straight up told me like, I'm gonna give you one more chance. If you don't get your shit together, you're out, bro. But you're gonna waste all this talent. Like, you got to get it together, you know. And but coming my senior year, I thought I knew it all, had it all together. And it's right, man. Like, we need more of that positive reinforcement, and like those excuses that you say that we give each other.
He was your baseball coach?
He was my baseball coach.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's like the things you remember aren't necessarily, oh, he taught me in baseball to always have my glove down. Thank you, Coach Otto. Going, no, you remember this shit.
Yeah, no,
right?
no.
I had a baseball coach too.
My coach would come pull my ear and slap my head.
Yeah, I had a baseball coach too, and every time I would say yes or yeah, I didn't say yes, sir, he would make me do 50 push-ups.
Absolutely.
Fucking hated his ass for that. Or like cussed. Hated his ass. And now, dude, I'm like, I say yes, sir, no, sir to everybody. I'm a grown man now, and I see someone that's older than me, and I'll be like, yes, no, don't call me that. Call me this. Call me by my name. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. I can't do that, man. I have to say yes, sir.
Just a respect.
And now, I was talking to people, I'm in that age bracket now. You know, I'll be like, how do I make this a meme? You know you're getting old when you run into a little kid and he says yes sir, no sir, and the first thing you say like, God, that's a well-educated kid. Like, damn, I'm getting old, man. I'm
that's
not
my
age
cue.
I'm that age bracket.
Those things, like you said, with coaches, and the way that you coach is important, man. That way that you coach your kid, because we used to lose. We'd come back on a Saturday, everybody get off, and we're like, all right, well, we're gonna go do things. He'd be like, nah, you guys are gonna start running. I'll tell you guys when to stop. But that kind of thing, like, it lives in me today, you know?
It's funny, I put my kids in T-ball, and their coach tries to do kind of stuff like that. Like, hey, nobody talking, but they're 4 and 5-year-olds. Hey, listen to me. And then they're like, I like Sonic. And they're like, I like Sonic too. And they're like, shush, hold on. You know what I mean? And then it was funny. The coach was like, hey, if you aren't listening, I'm going to make you run to that tree and back. I want to run to the tree. Like, that's supposed to be like, and then like, he'll be like, you go run to the tree. And the kid will take off. Can I run to the tree too? God, get over there and run to the tree too.
Forget it.
I'm like, God damn, bro. It's so funny. But yeah, man, it's crazy.
That kind of stuff is what lives with you forever, you know, and you continue to do it. And so it takes a special breed to be able to, for you to be able to. You
got to be a leader. You got to be a motivator, and you got to help everyone around you. I think also as a business owner, you help everyone around you, treat everyone like good without expecting anything in return. Because that's when you get hurt. You're like, it's like, what the hell? I'm helping them, and no one's helping me. Like, that's fucked up. It's like, well, that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it to do good. You know what I mean? And eventually, you know, good things will come to you and stuff, or they won't, but they're gonna come later, or it's building for a bigger, greater thing. But just treat everyone around you good, and it'll attract the right people too. It'll attract the bad people too, because people take advantage of you.
For sure.
But you develop a skill to weed those out. Like, this guy's just here just because he wants this, and like, you can weed them out.
Yeah. So throughout this whole journey, man, could you see yourself ever doing anything else? Like, now that you look back?
No. I've thought about that, but I'm like, what if I did finish civil engineering? Maybe maybe I would have finished. Been a civil engineer for years, and then I would be like, you know what? I don't want to work for this company. I want to start my own company. Maybe I want to start my own civil engineering company. Who knows? Right? Yeah. But then I'll be like, but being out in construction sites or being in an office in front of a computer, like, and doing shit like that is not as cool as my office being the mats. Yeah. And choking dudes out.
You get to work out. You get to be
choke dudes out and watch little kids choke each other out. Teach little kids to choke each other out too. You know? Yeah. There's nothing can beat that.
Yeah. So in all this journey that you come out, like, now your family real supportive of you and everything. Definitely. Everybody's real proud of you and what you've.
Now they're all super proud of me. They're, you know, and it's funny because all my mom's side of the family, it's about super straight edge as like finish school, go to college, get your master's, this and that. And all of them are like 90% of my aunts and uncles are teachers, principals. Right. One of my
long line of educators. Hey, you're in the same business, bro, but just a little bit different.
I didn't notice that, bro. I didn't notice that until later.
It lives in your blood.
It was like Thanksgiving or something like that. And we were around a table and they were talking about when they had a student that did this and and like, I remember and the parents and then the mom, and then she would always come and you know what I mean? And and then I was like, oh yeah, I had a student and then I had my stories with my students and stuff like that. And they're like, and then after a while I'm like, damn, I'm a teacher too then. What the heck? It's pretty crazy. That was on accident. I guess it was my calling in a sense.
Yeah. It's probably like you being inspired by what your mom has done for you.
I don't know, dude. I was like, fuck being a teacher. Because I was always that problem child. Not problem child, but the troublemaker.
Yeah.
The class clown. The talkative kid in class. That was me.
My freshman year, they're like, you want to draw? Go draw in that corner. Just don't distract anybody.
No, I was always on a desk outside in the hall.
Yeah.
I was always in trouble. Or next to the teacher's desk. That was always me.
So if somebody's looking to start the gym, do you recommend they go to college, or do you think now today somebody can get along?
If they're young, yeah. I recommend they can go to college and start the business and like have a job. They could do all that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that work ethic that they're going to develop, because it's going to be so tough from doing all that. Once you're like, okay, you finish college, now all that time, you don't spend it sitting down. You spend all that time in college into like your business that's going to create more, you're going to be more productive. And then once you, for example, what I did, I had my job and then I had my business. And then my business started making enough money that was paying for everything and making extra enough to cover what I was getting paid for my job. So then I quit my job and I was making that money already. Now I doubled up all the time that I was doing into my job. I put it into my own business to make myself even more money. You know what I mean? So if they could do all that while they're young, do it. Because then you have, and then it's not about, oh, I'm going to be a business administration. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could learn that over time too.
Yeah.
Maybe accounting, but then after a while, you're like, I could just hire an accountant. I don't want to be the accountant to my business. You know what I mean? I want to be the guy that's running the business, not being the accountant. You know, you could do it at first, but you could learn that too. Or eventually, you're gonna have to hire someone. Maybe be a marketing guy. You know, but then after a while, you don't want to be the marketing guy 100% to your business. But there always has to be marketing stuff going on.
Or I tell people like go out and get the experience, like sit in certain positions where you can pick up those skills, and then you know, like you have the bigger plan of what you want to do.
Get a job at a gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As the freaking maintenance guy.
I tell people, go ask the owners, like just ask them like this, what's your life like? What are the biggest challenges of owning a business?
Well, let me work for you, man. Can I start start cleaning, you know, start doing, pay me
I'm always
nothing.
preaching to these guys about, you know, my life and stuff, and you got to have find a partner in your life that accepts that kind of you know, intensity or hour intensive position that you hold, and to know that sometimes when you come home, maybe your head's not going to be completely there because you're focusing on what has to be done. Maybe you got big tournaments coming up, you got to organize stuff. So that I think in itself is also something that people need to look into, not just like sometimes when you're young, you fantasize like, oh, I'm going to be a cop, I'm going to chase robbers, you know, but you don't think about shit. When I get back to the office, I got a 4-hour report that I got to write, you know, and Oh, and then by the way, now I got to go get these shots because the guy that I had hepatitis or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't think about all those crazy things that have to do like with the job. So I tell people like embed yourself, like actually see what it's like, talk to those owners, like, so you can see that's, you know, with Sebastian, you know, his whole route is in entrepreneurship too. He's ran his own business, he's doing his stuff. So I said, hey, if you come, you know, help me out here, you're gonna pick up a lot of stuff. You want to run an agency, you're gonna work directly with the owner, so you see exactly what it's like to run an agency, because it's a lot of stuff.
Sometimes. You'll learn way more from that than in the classroom. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you know, if it just depends. Some people like to learn this way or that way, but I tell them, like, at the end of the day, like, it's gonna be you driving that. How much you're gonna pick up, like, you're gonna dig for the answers. Like, when you wanted to do something, like, you'll go figure it out if you really want to do it, you know.
Definitely.
So that's what I tell people. So that's really the core thing. Like, when I work with people or I talk to people, or people ask me like, oh, well, like, I want to start my own agency or stuff like that, you know. And then you see them 10 years later and they're working at Starbucks or something because it didn't work out, you know. So I think that you
or they're like, I want to start my own agency. It's like, I like how Gary Vee does this shit. He's but yeah, you're on the softball team, Tom. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or people say like, you're so lucky you did that and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, then I'll just wait on Twitter, wait for them to post something. And it's like, watching the NFL game. Oh, you got enough time to watch the NFL game, right? But you don't. It's like.
And you know what? That's funny. I get that a lot from my friends and family, where friends and family will be like. Because they know, like, I'm always about my business. I'm always doing it. Like, oh, you're eating tacos today? Like, you know, you're relaxing today? Like, I thought you were working out. I thought you were.
Oh, what happened to Mr. Lift every morning?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's the thing we were talking about with the Hispanic culture and, in our family. It's pretty funny, but it's true. It's what we go through. But those are the people that get us through this journey, man. And we need that push. We need those people.
I think it's the yin yang, right? You got to find the positive side to everything. But,
Absolutely. I think that's the other.
You could decide to be like, oh, why are you talking shit to me? Or he's talking shit to me like, he's funny. He's just maybe trying to push me to this. Or like, fuck you, I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah. Do you see yourself as you've grown to be more patient with that kind of feedback that you get from family and friends?
Yes.
Because I think early on when I was younger, I'd get real defensive real quick. Like, oh, what are you talking about? Like,
or I feel it's like I've become more humble and to think that everybody has an opinion, and just because it's a wrong opinion, or just because it's wrong or not, actually accurate, doesn't mean they're stupid or they hate you now. They're a fucking idiot. Like, like now I have to prove them wrong. Like I have to prove to them how stupid a comment that is and stuff like that. But okay, well they think that way. Like, yeah, but not really. Or like I used to think like that. Like or like, yeah, you really think so? That's cool, man. Like whatever. I'm not gonna get into an argument anymore.
Yeah, no, I think that maturity is important, dude, because it's gonna help you find your peace in your life.
Like actions speak louder than words. It's like, okay, yeah, man, yeah, you're right, and this and that. And then later they'll see you on a yacht.
No, you have to have that mentality, man, because if you don't, you drive yourself crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, you drive yourself crazy. You got to maintain that level of coolness and stuff. Like even if shit falls apart, you're like, well, fuck it, I'll go back, I'll get a job if all this, if all this doesn't work out.
Yeah, I've had times where I've had to like make big investments and like, where I'm like, oh shit, I gotta like, wait, like, okay, I gotta make sure my expenses are like, oh shit, like make sure. And I'm like, oh, I remember this. I remember when I used to not have enough for everything, or had to be like penny pinching and not going out and not doing this and not spending just whenever I felt like it. I was like, yeah, I kind of missed that. I'm like, that's cool. And I'm like, all right. And then quickly you like, start making money or something like that, or like the next month comes by. But yeah, I remember it brings you back a little bit when you...
Yeah, and I think also patience too, man, because like it's taken time to build into this, Gotta have that vision.
After a while, you're like, when am I gonna be freaking living the life? When is that coming?
Yeah, and what I've learned is this is the life, right? This journey, this whole thing, the struggles, the up and down, and that's why these kind of conversations are good, because you reflect a little bit when we don't have that time. Usually, we're always in a rush and shit to get to the next.
Yes.
To the next
thing. You're always in that most that problem that's in that moment. Like you're stuck in that. Like and then you're like, I have been through this a lot of times. I have done this. I have overcome. I have succeeded in this.
Yeah.
Like this is just another problem.
Yeah.
This too will pass. It was a video like I think it was Tom Hanks saying it. It was kind of weird. Tom Hanks? No, not Tom Hanks. Yeah, Tom Hanks was Woody, right? Tom Hanks.
Woody?
Woody, yeah.
Oh yeah, from you're talking about Toy Story, yeah.
With Woodpecker or what?
Yeah.
No,
what Woody is he talking about? Woody Harrelson?
Good. Woody Allen. Woody Allen. That good times and bad times will pass. You know? Bad times will pass, but also good times will pass. You know what I mean? So enjoy the good times, and then also the bad times, embrace them as in like they will pass, but learn from it, and then they will pass, So good times will come after that, but then bad times will come again.
Yeah. And congratulations, dude, on all your success and everything that you've done in the gym. And this is Chris's story is a little bit different, guys. Is like he said, when he got started, it fell in his lap. Sometimes opportunities fall in your lap, guys, and if it's timing, you got to take advantage of that. Sometimes people miss those kind of opportunities, man. So just be alert out there, because sometimes an opportunity may come along. And I'm sure when Chris first saw the gym and he's on these mats that are like puzzle pieces and the place looks like shit, but to you at the moment it's like, yeah, it's cool. Even like as we reflect, I think we just swapped out some new pictures of our office. And I was remembering when we thought it was cool the way the shit looked before. I'm the same way we're probably gonna feel about this and what it looks like right now. Because you're in that progress. But it's our journey. But you've done it, man. A lot of people tell me like when I'd be rolling at the gym and people were like, what do you do? I own my own business. Oh, you live the American dream. Yeah. You know?
Dude, honestly, it is. You know what I mean? The American, whether you're making 50,000 a year or 200K a year.
You're able to pay your bills and
you're
you're working for yourself. It's definitely the American dream, bro.
Definitely.
And you're able to steer your ship and able to steer your own
decisions.
You make your own decisions and stuff,
schedule,
so it's good. So that's why we're doing this show, because we're trying to help and educate the next generation of people that are thinking of taking that step and like, I want to start my business, but I want to share with them people's stories to understand like how much it's going to take so they don't get discouraged so quick. Because I think when we look at the numbers, like 90% of businesses go out of business within the first 2 years, and why is that? Because I think it's that thing where, like you fall down and your family's like, oh, Miko,
that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just cut my losses now and I'll break even, so that's good.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
I won't lose that much. It's like, nah, hell no, bro. Ride it till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, ride it till the wheels fall off, especially if you have the opportunity, like Chris was talking about, you have that opportunity, man. Be smart with your stuff and don't start making so much decisions to pile on so many responsibilities on you before you've even created or understood who you are, and because it takes time. Sometimes it takes to we're in our 30s to start reflecting to say, who the hell are we and how did we get here? And what do you like, what do you not like, and then really just to start to be comfortable with yourself. So don't worry about that. It just takes a little bit of time. But Devin, where are we at with time? We're in like 2, right? 2. All right. So we're gonna close out this podcast, but Chris, man, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Ro.
I really want to, in the future, want to do this again and shit.
Awesome.
But for sure, like the other idea we talked about doing something, man, I think would be good.
Dude, honestly, that's going to be fun. It'll make it a lot more fun, man. People like to hear these things like, oh, shit, you're talking to a doctor? Oh, about certain things that you want to ask doctors, or like what it's really like to, be behind there. And like, why do you take 3 hours after my appointment to barely talk to me for 15 minutes, you know what I mean?
I think this is the thing we can do better for the next generation, that maybe the generation before us kind of steered us in the wrong way. Like I feel like my mom's generation or that generation was all about like, you get a job, you commit to it till the day you die, and
you could do that, but it's not a job, it's going to be your business, right?
Yeah.
And commit to that.
Or whatever you do. Yeah. Commitment I think is important, but also growth and knowing that you got options, and there's a ton of opportunity with everything that's going on in this world, man. We've got a ton of opportunity. So that's why I wanted to do this, because I want people to see that, on top of the fact that I think like it's like you said, we have the greatest job in the world where we get to sit and talk with our friends and our family and shit. Like there's nothing better than that, man.
Nothing, bro.
I appreciate you coming out, and we'll definitely do this again, man. For those people that have not are interested in jiu-jitsu or martial arts, you can follow Chris at 10thplanetelpaso.com. He's also got the Instagram, he's on Facebook, and we're soon to be on TikTok. So we're gonna continue to expand content for that. I'm a firm believer in martial arts. I support it, I love it myself. It helps, guys, it helps your kids, it helps yourself. Stay active, do something, get out there. And if you're looking for something to do that is that you can do, that you'll get physical benefit from, but also get the benefit, mental benefit, get the benefit of learning to protect yourself, I think jiu-jitsu is a really good option for you guys. Chris has developed a really good program. He continues to hone in on the program to build people up, because I know sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating for people, but come out, man.
Yeah, we got a fundamentals class too, where it's just people that are first days, and they have a great time, man. Yeah,
come out, hit Chris up, man. He's real approachable, as you guys can see. Like Chris has a wealth of information when it comes to jiu-jitsu. He's been in the world. He eats, sleeps, and lives this every single day. So he's a really good coach, man. Thanks again for all your help, for your coaching, for your mentorship, and for also just for coming on today.
Oh yeah, appreciate it.
All right, guys. So that's it. So that wraps up episode 3. we're continuing to do this. As you guys can see, we got the new set going, and we hope to continue to do this bigger. Drop us a comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, guys, because that's how we get to do this on a larger scale. Any kind of input, if you guys want to see something different, or you want to see something when it comes to content, let us know. We're open, and we're going to continue doing this stuff, man. So that wraps up episode number 3. Thanks again. Thanks, Devin. Thanks, Sebastian. And thanks, Chris, for coming out. All right. Thanks, man. Peace.